Hej och välkomna to this video with me, Fredrik. This is part 2 of my Commodore 64 as a synthesizer journey. If you haven't watched part 1, please go back and do that and come back after. I promise I will still be here. I thought this would be a reasonably easy next step, or at least straightforward. But then I started reading more and the confusion increased. As you may remember from the first video, my plan was to add a second SID chip to the 64. I had built this stereo SID board, which has two sockets for SID chips. One thing I did not really talk about in the last video is that there are two major versions of the original SID chips, the 6581 and the 8580. They behave the same, but does not sound exactly the same. I thought that the 6581 was installed in the original breadbox 64s and the 8580 was on the newer 64C versions, which is what I have here. But it turns out that the first versions of the 64C still uses the 6581. So if you have a 64C and want to know what you have, I guess you need to open the computer and take a look. Why does this matter? Well, the SID chip versions run on different voltages. The 6581 runs on 12 volts and the 8580 runs on 9 volts. So, if you want to mix it up and use one of each, you cannot use this simple stereo SID board because it does not convert voltages. So in this case you need to use only the correct SID chip for your version of the 64. Since last time, I have also received this ARM SID package. This is the ARM2 SID version, which is two SID chips in an FPGA alternative. The ARM SID can replace both versions of the SID chips, so using that we do not need to worry about the voltages. So what about my confusion then? I happened to see this on the SynthCart page. The thing that caught my attention was these things. The second SID chip can be positioned at different addresses. I have seen traces of this problem during my travels on the internet, but not fully understood the implications. However, after some more research and a little chat with both ChatGPT and Google Gemini, I think I have figured out a solution that would work. Later in this video, both you and I will find out if it works, or if the Commodore will explode. What do we need to do to get this installed then? First, we need the stereo SID board. We need to remove the SID chip inside the computer and put the stereo SID board there. We also need to attach an audio jack so we can get the sound from the second chip to our mixer or sound card. Then the magic part. We need to attach a wire from the stereo SID board to a pin on the expansion port to select the address. This part was confusing me a lot, but I kind of understand it now, I hope. Please correct me if my explanation of this is garbage. Okay, enough talking. Time to get to work. Let us open up the Commodore and have a look inside. Please be careful and avoid static electricity, which could fry the old chips. Frying chips is good if they are made from potatoes, but not if they are made of silicon. So I'm going to use this wrist wrap, which is connected to ground. So first we have 3 screws that need to be removed, at least on this version of the Commodore. And then we need to be a bit careful to not break any of the little connections here. So we don't actually see much more now because the keyboard is in its way. So let's remove that. And another screw for this shield thingy. Here we go. I don't think I need to remove this completely for this work. And I won't try to explain all that we see in here, mainly because I don't really know exactly all parts here, but we can see the SID chip is here because you can read 6581, and I think this will be the 6510, which is the main CPU. To get this installed, we have to remove the SID chip, of course, and then I'm planning to attach this kind of cable for the extra audio out. We need to find a way to get this out of the computer. There is a tiny hole here which we might use, but that seems a bit complicated. What I'm thinking instead is to use this user port that you see here. That is mainly for connecting printers and modems and stuff, and I have no real plan to use any of those. So you could probably run the wire in this way and connect it to where we need it. I don't really want to drill a hole in the case. So if I want to, I can restore this to its original state. Yeah, so maybe we should start by just removing the SID chip so we get it out of the way. I am using this IC remover thing. It's important for us to notice which way the chips are installed, because we need to have the same orientation. So I'm just saying that so I can remember myself. If I forget, I can rewind this video and take a look. So the plan is then to have this seated here, and we need to get the audio wire from here to the outside, and then the magic part. We need to attach a wire from the cable select to one of the pins here. If I have understood this correctly, I have two options for this SID board. I can attach it to pin 7 of the expansion port, which will make the second SID chip show up at address DE00 hexadecimal. Or I can attach it to pin 10, which is then address DF00 hex. Looking at the synth cart documentation, it seems like I want DF00, but it would be nice to be able to switch between them. I'm thinking of adding this kind of switch to select between the two modes. And then I have also seen that there is a jumper here for select if I want to run the SID chips in just plain stereo mode, so it behaves as one chip for the computer, but we get signals out from both of them, or if you want to use them separately, to have 6 voices. So I'm planning of adding another switch to select between those. Since these are jumpers, I don't really want to open the computer to be able to change between this. What does this mean then? We need to attach the audio wire and get it out of here. We need to have the, the mode switch out with 3 wires, and then we need to have the cable select. So we have 2 wires from here, from pin 7 and 10, going out of the computer, and then from the switch in to the SID expansion board. That should be all we need to do, really. Just on a side note here, how about the other addresses we see on the synth cart? Synth cart mentions having the second SID at D420. This seems to require a more advanced solution than my stereo SID. One popular solution to this seems to be the MixSID from Henning Liebenau. I have the PCB for this, but I have not built it. So maybe that will be something for a future video, if I do not destroy the 64 with this solution. So let's start this. We have the stereo SID board, an audio cable, and wires and switches. We have the 64, I have a multimeter which I'm going to bring up to the table, a soldering iron and a fan for the soldering fumes. We'll see if I can use the audio when the fan is running. It is a bit loud, so maybe I will need to do a voiceover of those parts. I have not really soldered anything on video yet. So, wish me luck. So, welcome back. I have prepared some stuff and move it up to my desk so we can hopefully see what we need to do. I'm thinking first to temporarily just move the 64 out of the way. Because my plan is to start by soldering the wires to the stereo SID. There we have the audio out jacks, the cable select, and the mode select wires. The mode select is for getting stereo or 6 channels, and the address select with the cable is the one going to the expansion port. So we need a few wires here. Maybe we'll start with the simple audio cable. So I think I cut this here so we have some marginal for the sound. As we saw, the port is quite near to the edge of the computer. I don't think I will need this much, but it's better to have more than less. And maybe turn on the soldering iron so we will have some heat there. I'll start by adding a bit of solder to the wire so I can get it to the board a bit easier. And if you're good at soldering, you will notice that I am not, so yes, I'm aware of that. So it seems like maybe I've succeeded with the first step now. the wires seem to be still attached here. So yeah, maybe it worked. So now we need to connect these to a button or a switch. So that's this part kind of finished, I hope. And now for the more scary part, we need to go into the Commodore. So let me start by setting that one up, and I'll get back to you soon. So welcome back. Now for part 3, we need to attach wires to pin 7 and 10. And this is a bit scary. I was thinking if we maybe do a hook on this wire. If you can see that somewhere. And just hook it into the computer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should we dare to solder this? I don't really like this. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 7th. Well, end of procrastination, I think. Let's go for it. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I think I will try for the same hook solution here. That actually worked quite good. We're building a hook and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that might be it, really. We have the cable select cables. We need to get this one out of the computer. We should probably add some cable ties somewhere here so these are not moving inside. So this is now going to attach to the cable select switch that I started soldering on. Hopefully that is it for the soldering part. I've probably forgotten something here. Now we need to check the soldering and to see that we don't have any shorts and stuff before daring to turn this on. For this I will need a short break and I'll get back to you soon. Really soon if you're watching the YouTube, a little bit longer in my real time. So welcome back. I have had a break and a bit of coffee so we can have energy to continue with the rest of this. So what I have done outside of filming is to test my soldering for continuity. So we have connections where we want them to and we don't have any shorts. So I think I have done what I can to be reasonably confident that I won't blow up the computer, but we'll never know, will we? So I guess we have to test it out. What we need to do is to install the SID chips. I think we will go with the ARM SID package for this. Those are still manufactured, so if I do something really stupid, I can always buy a new one of those. Let's insert the first one. So now maybe at last we have the ARM SID in place. I got in a bit of a problem with the sockets which I needed to fix off camera. I must say I'm really impressed by those channels that do this kind of things all the time. John Beta and the other ones that are messing around inside them. I think it's hard and it's really hard to try to film it and do it at the same time. So apologies if not everything got filmed in a nice way. I think it's time to close this up and see what happens really. I can't think of anything more to do now, so it's best to just do it. If it's going to be destroyed, it is, so let's go. See how this goes. We need to get this one back in place, and now the SID is a bit higher, so I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not. I'm not sure how much use this is really. Do you think we need it really? Maybe we should just cut out the part for the dual SID here. Let's just cut this up where the SID chip is. Like so. If anyone of you knows exactly what this thing does, please write a comment. Does this really help for getting rid of interference or something? Let's put that one in. And then let's see if I need... Yes, I do. I removed the case LED. From here, and now I can't, of course, can't remember which side it was on. Okay, do we dare to turn it on? I have no synthesizer cartridge or anything in this right now. Let's go. At least it hasn't crashed totally, because it worked. Okay, do we sense any smoke? No. Okay, I guess we need to plug in the cartridge things and the MIDI and hope for the best again. One moment. So I have attached the MIDI interface. I have it booted up so you can hear something, for example, from this, which is the multi-poly, not the Commodore. But let's start. What do we get now? Okay, it's sounding at least, so we haven't destroyed anything. That is 3 notes. Okay, something is happening. This was weird. Hi, it's me, back a couple of days in the future. I have done some thinking, and I've checked all the soldering, and I have concluded that I do not know what's happening, really. When the computer is in stereo mode, it sounds fine. That must mean that the chips are working correctly. But when I switch to the 6-voice mode, one chip sounds strange. But it does make sound, so it somewhat works. I'm not sure if the cable is too long for the address selection, or maybe it receives some interference, or maybe something else. If any of you have any ideas of what I can try, then please write in the comments. Any suggestions will be appreciated. I will probably come back to this in the future somehow. Maybe try to build a MixSID board, or try to resolder with a shorter cable. We'll see. But for now, I have decided that this is good enough. I get a clean stereo 3-voice sound, so I will live with this for now, because I really want to do some music instead. But if you want me to continue investigating this, let me know in the comments. And I will end this video with a little jam including the 64. I have set up the MIDI cake ARP to play an arpeggio on the 64. It also plays a string pad on pigments and a bass on the multi-poly. And I will play on my Roland D50 and a patch on the Faceplant VST, which I'm playing from the Osmos. Thank you very much for watching this far. If you want, please satisfy the YouTube algorithm gods by commenting and liking the video. See you soon. Hey, did you know I have enabled the YouTube membership option and a Patreon page? There are some perks there, but you should see it mainly as a way of supporting me even more than watching my videos and listening to my music. The more support I get, the more it will enable me to do more music and videos. Thank you very much.